I arrived at my parents' house and announced, "I'm ready for our family vacation." My mom whispered, "We gave your ticket to your sister's new boyfriend. He's better." I just smiled, waved goodbye, and left. Later, I got a Venmo request, $5 for 100, pay for our tickets. I sent back 50 cents with a note. There's a surprise waiting. For days later, they got an email from my lawyer. At 7 a.m., I heard the first knock on my door. I've never been this angry at my family. Not when they forgot to show up at my college graduation. Not when they accidentally left me off the Christmas card one year. Not even when they skipped helping me move and said they were too tired. Only for me to see them posting photos at a winery 2 hours away. I always brushed things off, told myself they were forgetful, distracted, whatever. But this was deliberate. This was betrayal. And they knew exactly what they were doing. We were supposed to fly to Italy this Sunday. 2 weeks of family time. Florence, Rome, the Amalfi Coast. It was the first international trip we planned as a family since I was in high school. For the past 2 weeks, we were in constant contact, sending each other restaurant lists, arguing about gelato spots, even coordinating color-coded packing tips. I moved meetings, canceled a professional workshop, refunded a client booking. I set aside everything for this. I was ready to go. So when I rolled up to their place Friday afternoon, I was in full vacation mode, duffel bag packed, passport in hand, even brought caissons for the car ride to the airport. I walked in like it was a big reveal. "I'm ready for our family vacation," I said, grinning. Silence. Mom was in the kitchen. She looked up, eyes a little wide, then looked down again like I wasn't even there. Emily was lounging on the couch, and next to her was a guy I'd never seen before in my life. Mom spoke without even meeting my gaze. "We gave your ticket to Emily's boyfriend." That moment split time in half for me. I didn't speak. Couldn't. I stared at them, waiting for a laugh, a joke, some kind of awkward punchline. But then Emily chimed in like this was all normal. "We figured it'd be nice for him to come. You've already been to Europe." That was her explanation. And my dad, who had once promised to take me to Rome since I was 12, walked into the room, patted this guy's shoulder and said, "He's a really solid guy. He's got experience working with you in biotech teams or something." I asked one question. "When did you decide this?" They looked at each other. Mom said, "About a week ago." A week. A full week. They'd kept this from me while still planning the trip like I was part of it. I didn't yell. I didn't curse them out. I just nodded. I left my cuisines on the counter. Then I walked out without another word, drove home in silence, and sat in my apartment staring at the wall. That night, I got a Venmo request. $5,400. Pay for our tickets. No context, just a demand for money like I was the unpaid sponsor for their new family. I stared at that request until the room got dark. Then I sent back 50 cents. The note just said, "There's a surprise waiting." And then I called my lawyer. By the time they were posting photos under the Colosseum, holding hands with their new golden child, pretending I never existed, the email had been sent. A formal legal notice demanding $9,900 in reimbursement. Everything I paid in the lead-up to this trip, flights, hotel deposits, tour fees, transfers, non-refundable excursions, all of it. Plus the money I lost canceling plans that could have made me more. They didn't answer, not the email, not my texts, not the follow-up call from the law office until this morning, 7 a.m. on the dot. Someone banged on my door like the place was on fire. And that's when I knew they were finally home. They showed up at 7 a.m. like they were staging some kind of intervention. No warning, no message, just loud, persistent knocking like someone was dying. I hadn't even had coffee yet. I opened the door and there they were. Mom, Dad, and Emily lined up on my porch looking like they'd rehearsed this. Dad's jaw was tight, his arms crossed. Mom looked like she hadn't slept, hair pulled back, no makeup. Emily had her arms folded and her phone in her hand like she was expecting to record the whole thing. "You're actually serious about this?" Dad snapped before I could even say good morning. Mom jumped in. $9,900? Are you out of your mind? Emily added, "Over a vacation?" I didn't say anything. I just stood there in the doorway letting them throw their lines at me. I didn't invite them in. That was intentional. Mom tried to backpedal, softening her tone. "We thought you'd understand. He's important to Emily. He's got experienced connections. I don't care if he's Jesus." I cut in. "You gave away my ticket. You used money I paid and didn't even tell me. I found out standing in your living room holding my suitcase. You're making this ugly," Dad said, voice raised. "Now you're dragging your own family through court. Over this." I looked at him for a second longer than I needed to. Then I told them the truth. They owed me that money. I had invoices, transfers, receipts. I fronted expenses for the whole trip because I trusted them, and they pulled me out of it like I was some intern who didn't make the cut. Then Mom said something she shouldn't have. "We didn't think you'd be this dramatic. You've been to Europe. Emily hasn't. And we needed the money. We used some of what you paid to cover the extra ticket. That's why we asked for the $5,400. That was it. They didn't just give my seat away. They used the money I fronted for my own ticket and hotel deposits to pay for hers and her boyfriend's." "You stole from me," I said. Emily looked like she was going to cry, but I didn't feel sorry. I was done being the one who kept the peace while they pushed me to the side. "You can settle it now or settle it in court, but it's not going away." They left in a mess of frustration and half-threats. Dad slammed the car door so hard I heard it from my kitchen. Emily didn't even look back. I figured that would be the end of it for a while at least. But it got weirder. Over the next week, they went silent. No calls, no texts, nothing from their lawyer either. But they kept posting photos of dinner at home with captions like, "So grateful for family nights." And nothing like a home-cooked meal with the people who matter most. In every shot there, he was Chase, the boyfriend, sitting at my dad's seat at the table wearing my dad's old baseball cap. At one point, I swear I saw him wearing my hoodie, the same one I left in the guest room a month ago. That made it worse. It wasn't just that they betrayed me. It was like they were trying to erase me and recast the role, and Chase was playing it like he was born for it. The legal process rolled forward. My lawyer sent another notice. Still no response. Then on a Thursday, everything cracked. It was around 3:00 p.m. I got a text from Mom. Just 3 words. "Call me. Urgent." Then Emily. "Something happened. He's gone." I didn't call. I waited. An hour later, Mom showed up at my place. This time, no yelling, no attitude. She was pale. Her hands were shaking. "He took everything," she said. Chase, or whatever his name actually was, waited until they were out running errands, packed his things, and vanished along with $11,000 cash they had stashed in the house, and all the gold jewelry my mom had inherited from her mother. Rings, bracelets, necklaces gone. Dad's emergency cash drawer cleaned out. He even took the smartwatch Emily had bought him the week before. They'd gone to the police, but it got worse. Turns out this wasn't his first time. He'd done this before. Different cities, different names, always the same setup. Charm the family, move in fast, gain trust, and vanish with valuables. Now they were in full panic, broke, humiliated, and finally coming to me for help. And I'll admit, part of me wanted to slam the door. They were crying, all 3 of them. That was the part one didn't expect. Dad showed up 10 minutes after Mom. He didn't knock. Just walked in like the place still belonged to him, like we were past the point of asking. Emily trailed behind him, eyes red, not saying anything at first. She looked like she hadn't slept since the guy left. He emptied everything. Dad said, "We thought he was upstairs napping. We were gone for less than 2 hours." He took the jewelry box from the safe. Mom added, "How did he even know the code?" Emily sat on the edge of my couch, still gripping her phone. He was just gone. His clothes, his bag, even my laptop. I listened. I didn't offer tissues. I didn't say, "I told you so." I didn't even move. Then Mom said it. "We're ashamed. You were right. We were wrong. Please just drop the case." That's what they wanted. For me to forget they cut me out, stole from me, and then expected me to pay for their vacation while they handed my spot to a stranger. I asked if they'd reported it. They had, but the police told them what I already suspected. He was experienced, not officially wanted, but there were reports of someone similar in Nevada, Arizona, and North Carolina. Different aliases. He used real institutions on his fake resume. Real companies, real people as references. The man had faked a LinkedIn profile with over 500 connections. So yeah, they were scammed completely. And now they were broke, humiliated, and desperate. But here's the thing. None of this erased what they did to me. It didn't change how they treated me. Like I was replaceable, like Chase was somehow better. That word still echoed in my head every time I thought about it. Better. I told them I wasn't dropping anything. That what they were dealing with now didn't erase the debt they owed me. If anything, it confirmed why I'd drawn the line in the first place. Dad got angry, said I was being cold. Mom asked how I could do this to my own family. You replaced me. I said you made that choice. You let him into your house. You let him take my seat and you funded it with my money. Now you want sympathy because he turned out to be exactly what I warned you about. They didn't have an answer. Eventually, they left. No more shouting, just quiet disappointment, but not in themselves. Still in me. I sat alone for a long time after that. I should have felt triumphant, vindicated, but I didn't. I just felt tired. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept thinking about how we got here, how we'd gone from a family trip to international theft to a courtroom date. The next morning, I went to the bank, pulled out $8,000. Then I called my lawyer. Draft a loan agreement. I said, term 14 months, full repayment, no loopholes. He asked why. Because as much as I hated what they did, as much as I wanted to stay angry forever, I knew what was coming next. They were going to need me. The morning the loan document was sent, I expected hesitation. Maybe a request for more time, some emotional back and forth. But 2 hours later, Dad replied with 3 words that felt clinical. We will sign. I met him at the bank downtown. Neutral ground, no small talk, no handshake. He looked thinner, like stress had eaten half his frame in a week. He signed the contract with a borrowed pen, barely looking at me. When he slid the document back across the table, he cleared his throat like he wanted to say something. But whatever it was, he swallowed it. I wired $8,000 into their joint account that afternoon. Sent a short confirmation message. No reply. That night, I was lying in bed scrolling aimlessly when Emily's name popped up on my phone. One line. He was never who we thought he was he? I stared at it for a while. I didn't answer, but something about it got under my skin. Not because she was finally questioning things, but because I realized she still didn't get it. She thought the betrayal started with him. So, I pulled out my laptop and started looking, not just for closure, but because some part of me couldn't let go until I understood who this guy actually was. All I had was the name he gave them, Chase Renner, and the pictures from their Italy posts. I ran a reverse image search and within minutes I had hits, dozens of them, but not under the name Chase. Different aliases, different states, same face, Logan Price, Mitchell Dane, Aaron Hess, same guy over and over. The stories followed the pattern. Move in fast, charm the family, create some impressive lie about his career, steal valuables, disappear. I found a Reddit thread titled, "Has anyone else been conned by this guy?" with nearly 400 comments, Florida, Ohio, Washington, Nevada. One woman said he convinced her mom he was in witness protection. Another said he promised to fund her startup before disappearing with all her savings and her car. And here's the kicker. He always made sure someone else paid for the trip. Always took someone else's seat. It wasn't just theft. It was performance. He made people feel chosen, important, made others feel left out. He knew how to divide a family before robbing it blind. It wasn't just calculated. It was practiced. I compiled everything I found and sent it to my parents. Within an hour, my mom called. She couldn't even form full sentences. She just kept saying, "He had dinner at our table. He wore your dad's shoes. I gave him your grandfather's watch." They called the detective again. He took it seriously this time. With what I found, they could now link him to at least 4 other open cases. They took the devices, searched browser histories, collected every single receipt and document they had. But I could hear it in the officer's voice when he spoke to my mom on speaker. This guy was slippery. They might never catch him. A week passed and then the first payment arrived. $500 payment, one of 14 memo from both of us. They sent one every week like clockwork. Mom even added random amounts sometimes. $1,613 for $172. Like she wanted it to feel personal, like she was overcompensating for the years they treated me like the backup plan. Then one came with a strange note. $327 for that birthday dinner we skipped in 2020. They were trying to say sorry piece by piece. By month 3, they paid back over $3,000. And then one afternoon, I got a text from Emily. No apology, just this. I saw your old hoodie in his bag before he left. I should have known. I'm sorry. I still didn't respond. Then one random Thursday for months and a few days after the whole thing started, my phone buzzed. Bank transfer received $6,700. And in the note, final balance plus the old debt from when you loaned us money for the roof. We remember. We're sorry. They didn't call. They didn't text. Just silence. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something that surprised me. Relief. Not because I got the money back, but because they remembered the thing I thought they'd buried. It should have been a moment of healing. But I had my own plans. The next day, I posted a photo of my new passport and a boarding pass. Berlin, Amsterdam, Lisbon. A full month in Europe with 2 of my closest friends from college. All paid in full. No compromises. No family. Caption. Finally taking the trip I was promised. Except better. 3 hours later, Emily posted a story. A group photo. Her mom-dad at some local brunch spot. Caption. Some people only show up when it benefits them. No tag. No name. But I didn't need one because I knew who it was meant for. The Europe trip healed a lot of things, just not the thing I thought it would. Berlin was the first stop. I was with 2 friends from college. Real ones, people who never made me feel like I had to earn a seat at the table. We walked through the rain, ate doner kebabs at midnight, and stumbled into a techno club that felt like another dimension. After Berlin, it was Amsterdam, boats, canals, and long, hazy mornings with no schedule. Then Lisbon, where we stayed in a rented apartment on a hill with a view so good it didn't feel real. The freedom of it all just made the past few months feel more ridiculous. Every espresso, every train ride, every random encounter with strangers reminded me of what my family took from me and how quickly they tried to replace me. But they couldn't replace silence. And that's what I gave them. Not anger, just nothing. They'd paid everything back by now. That last $6,700 landed in my account the day before I flew out. My lawyer confirmed the contract was closed. Case settled, balance paid in full. I should have felt something more. Relief, maybe closure, but I just felt done. I didn't post much about the trip. Just a couple photos, mostly of architecture, food, city lights, but somehow it still got to them. Emily's story started getting sharper. Posing with my parents at brunch with captions like family is more than blood. Stuff like that. Like she thought this was a contest and she was still in the lead. Then in Porto at a small cafe off a quiet street, I got a Venmo notification from my mom. $32.78. For that time you covered ice cream for all of us in 09. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because she finally understood the game was never about money. It was about the principle. They took what was mine and then tried to act like I was overreacting. But now they were repaying interest on memories. By the time I got back to the States, I didn't even tell anyone I'd landed. I didn't want the welcome back. I just wanted space. 2 weeks passed. Work picked up. Things got busy again. I thought maybe I was finally moving on. Then one Saturday morning, I went to my favorite cafe, the same place I'd gone a dozen times since everything happened, and saw them. Mom and Dad sitting at a table by the window. They looked older, like life had pulled something out of them and hadn't put it back. They noticed me at the same time I noticed them. Nobody smiled. Nobody waved. But after a few minutes, Dad stood up and walked over holding a folded piece of paper. "You look good," he said quietly. "Europe will do that," I answered. He nodded. Didn't say anything else. Just handed me the paper and walked back. I waited until I got home to open it. It was a printed copy of the payment ledger. Every transfer, every note, every dollar, and at the bottom a handwritten line plus $8,000 returned $1,900. Roof loan from 2020, $32.78. Ice cream total paid $932.78. Status resolved. Below that, in my mom's handwriting, no more debt, but still a lot to repair if you ever want to. I stared at it longer than I expected to. A few days later, I got another message, this time through email from Emily. Subject line, "You probably won't read this." I did. It was 5 paragraphs. She apologized, not for choosing her boyfriend over me. She still said she didn't know what to believe, but she admitted she let it go too far, that she should have stopped them, that she should have at least said something that day at the house. At the bottom, she wrote, "You don't have to forgive me, but I'm not pretending we're fine anymore." I didn't reply. And then another message from Mom. "We're making your favorite pasta this weekend. If you show up, there's a seat. If not, we understand." It didn't sound like a trap. It just sounded tired. I didn't go, but I saved the message because while I'm not ready to be at that table again, I'm not deleting the invitation either. For months past, no major drama, no accusations, no more Venmo notes, just silence. Quiet, careful silence. They had paid everything back down to the cent. Even things I never expected them to remember. And still, we barely spoke. I didn't visit. I didn't call. They didn't press. But I knew they watched. Every time I posted something about my trip, someone would accidentally like it, then unlike it. Emily once sent a heart emoji on a story of mine, then deleted it 10 seconds later. They were still in it, still orbiting, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't watching, too. I saw that they sold the car, that they canceled a weekend trip they had planned, that Dad started working extra hours again, and Mom picked up freelance stuff online. They were tightening everything, paying down debts, cleaning up. It felt strange to witness their life like a neighbor watching through blinds, detached but not completely gone. Then, out of nowhere, I got a transfer $1,200 memo final payment. The rest of what we still owed you, even if you forgot, they hadn't owed me anything else. Not on paper, not according to the contract. But that payment, it was from something way back. An old loan I gave Dad during his job gap years ago. One I never thought I'd see again. It landed in my account and sat there. I didn't move it. I didn't acknowledge it, but I remembered. That weekend, I took a walk through the old neighborhood. The streets felt smaller than I remembered. The house looked the same, except now it felt like something I used to live in, but no longer belonged to. I didn't go in, just stood across the street for a few minutes. They didn't see me. That night, I got one more message from my mom. No subject, no body, just a single attachment. A photo of an empty chair at the dinner table. I sat with that image for a long time. It didn't guilt me. It didn't move me to tears. It just sat there like a reminder that even when debts are paid, there's still a cost, a space. The next week, I booked another trip. This time Greece with the same 2 friends. When I posted the boarding pass at the gate, I knew what would come, and it did. Emily posted a picture of her and my parents at some family picnic. Caption: "Some of us stay loyal even when it's hard." But I wasn't mad. I didn't respond. I didn't need to because for the first time in a long time, I had everything I needed. My money, my peace, my distance. And no matter how many pictures they posted, I knew one thing they didn't. That chair at the dinner table, it wasn't empty. It was mine. And I chose not to sit in it.